What's happening, guys? Welcome back. And with the rise of Fred again and Future Garage style in general, I made my own Future Garage style track, and today I'm going to give you a breakdown of the processes, how I made it, everything. So yeah, let's jump straight into it. What's happening, everybody? So just jumping straight into it, and we're going to jump straight into the drums, which is probably the most important part about this garage style or Future Garage style. So we have our kick and closed hat. So that's just creating straight off a little groove there, and then we have a sample here on top of it. This is just a drum loop sample. So as you can hear, there's a lot of swing in everything, and then basically what I do is I create it in Machine, add swing in Machine, and then drag everything out in Audio then for processing power. We have our snare. So our snares land on beat, so we have the every second and every second and fourth beat then in a bar are snares. We also have a pre-snare. This can be done with an open hat as well to create a groove, so this just happens on the beat right before the snare comes in, just to create that little extra groove, and then I have this turned down in the mix and just panned a little bit right then. So it also it kind of creates that kind of offbeat texture, and just helps the groove overall. We have a shaker down on every 16th. So that's just helping to glue everything together pretty much, and just add some speed in the drum groove. And then last but not least, we have a vinyl texture which is mapped to the BPM, so just make sure that if you're adding a vinyl underneath that you have it set to the BPM of your project. For this one it's 130. Yeah, just a vinyl noise underneath, which gives it that analog kind of feel then. And then that was my basic groove. Then for processing, we sent everything to a bus. Let me just find it here. And then we have just a bit of glue compression on the bus itself. We have some more saturation using Saturn 2 whenever it loads. Just a subtle tube on that one, nothing major at all. Our main where we're getting the drive then and the punch is using our two buses. Then if you've seen my previous video, I explain a lot more about these two buses here, and it's basically just a reverb and basically distorting, so it's parallel distortion pretty much, and then just blend then. So that was my drum groove. I started with that, then we added in some pads. The next thing is our pads then. So what I notice about Future Garage is their pads are very airy. You almost get in the chord stabs, it's almost like a future house style, and then some subtle piano or subtle keys underneath. For this one I chose a piano pad. So as you can see, the three elements, my crystal pad is very airy. It's more like an ambience texture underneath, and then my chord stabs. So they're very much kind of that future house style, little bit of detuning on it, very subtle, but almost at the end of each stab it just kind of it detunes each note then, and then my piano pad underneath. So that's just giving some nice keys underneath and just a really, really nice feeling then pretty much of an ambience sound. We have our bass, which is just our sub. So another thing I noticed with this style is the subs are very much distorted, almost like an 808. You can get funky with these and create some nice rhythm underneath the drums, but for this one I just did it every quarter bar and added a little bit of glide to each note then, just sliding into each other. So yeah, really, really nice sub. Just some sidechain, couple of different side chains on a side chain to the kick and the snare, and then a little bit of EQ, just roll off the highs, dip about that 200, that muddy mark, and I also did some parallel distortion on this, rolled off the low end. I just wanted to blend the top end in of the 808 with the original sample, and yeah, really drive it forward then. And then from my distortion I use Berserk's distortion, really, really nice, really, really good plugin. You can choose different characters, you can mix the taste, choose different temperatures, whether you want it colder, warmer. Yeah, you can go into a lot in this then. So just jumping straight into our vocal sample then, our vocal sample, the original, was taken off Splice. Then we resampled it, did a few little chops, added some reverb, sidechain, etc. And then this is what we ended up with. So yeah, really, really nice overall. Little bit of distortion on the vocals as well. And yeah, it really helps the groove of everything together. We have some more chord stabs. So these, what I did for these two chord stabs is I separated the mids and the sides, and then routed them to a bus. So for example, for the mids I processed them slightly differently, so the mids are slightly higher, have a little bit of reverb on them, and then the sides have more reverb, the low end taken out of the sides of it, and then glued them together then, and I thought it just really sounded nice underneath. So to give you an example, this is the mids on their own. So yeah, very dry, very mono overall, and then what I used was a dynamic EQ and then my imager then, just to sterilize the mids a little bit more, just on the top end, and then the band between 500 and kind of 5k mark. Then for my sides, so as you can hear, they're really, really wide. Just I did sort of something similar, little bit less stereo on this one and a little bit less width for the sides. They're already quite wide as it is, as you can see from the Polar sample. They're very, very left and right. and I added then a reverb just to the sides and then blended them together then with some sidechain compression. So yeah, you really get the feeling of the mids and then the width from that then overall. We have our leads, so I did something sort of similar for the leads, just in different sections. So for my lead I changed it up in the pre-hook, which I'll show you now in a second. So the original sample came from a plugin called Analog Lab, and it's just a very airy flute sample that then I affected then, and just added some reverb, etc. Some little bit of EQ, but the main elements then definitely came from separating the mids and the sides and gluing them together in my lead bus, which had some glue compression, some saturation with Saturn, a little bit of distortion with Magnetic 2. I don't know if any of you used this before, but yeah, really good plugin for adding subtle saturation and distortion depending on what you want. For this one, just a little bit of tape and saturation I went with, higher the real speed just a little bit. S1 Imager then, just to control the width of it. I didn't want it too wide and clashing with other elements. And then we have some sidechain compression to the vocals and to the kick then as well. We have, what else do we have? We have a vocal sample then. So we have that vocal sample which was taken from the original vocals above. We added some glide, a little bit of release to the original sample, make it longer, some reverb, and then just blended it in with the original lead then. So really subtle in the background, a lot of reverb to that. That was almost my ambience for the actual lead itself. And then for our build up, we have a lead in here as well. Yeah, so the same lead, just bounced off. I played around with the attack, decay, and then release just for this section, as you can hear in the second half. Yeah, so I just wanted to affect it a little bit to add tension to the track and then basically tell that there was some sort of difference happening. And that is pretty much everything. Basically it was then on to arrangements. So I have some effects. So I have some crowd effects. So I have some crowd effects. Then my intro and outro was filtered using a auto filter, and then added some distortion, bounced it out, and then I got this. And then I thought that went really well with the crowd noise. And then we have some simple effects, just some build up, some crashes. Some crashes, some ambience just throughout the track. And then the way I arranged it then is I have my intro coming in. We have our first hook, which has no lead. Then we have a break with some, let me just show you the break. I have some filter drums. So we have some drums that are filtered, a lot of delay on them, and it just blends with the original snares then for this section. So I thought that just helped everything flow together. And then we have some more crowd noise just in that section as everything filters down. We have some vocal samples just taken off YouTube. This is an Irish sample from a comedian.
Packed already. What's that? You'd like to teach me?
There's cursing in that, so I'll not play the whole part, but and then we have a little clip I got off YouTube from Dave the Rapper.
That guy, just because they're rich, and girls that think that do, like, people hold certain people on a mad pedestal and be like, oh, but this person, it's like, why? Like, what do you do? Like, why? Like, what do you do? Like, why? Like, what do you do? Like,
so I chopped that up and then added it in that section then as well. I'll just play that.
That guy, just because they're rich, and girls that think that girl, just because they're good looking. It's kind of sad. I know you want to be the guy to stay that obvious. What do you do? Like, why? What do you do? Like,
so yeah, just I wanted something just to help the track flow a little bit more. We have some more vocal samples. So just little textures underneath throughout the whole track then. So just something underneath then, there's some distortion on that as well using Berserk. And then we build up to our final hook then. So that was a breakdown of a Future Garage style track that I made. If you want more in-depth analysis just on intros, outros, basically vocal chops, anything like that, just leave a comment below, request it, and I'll try and get a video up straight away showing everything. But yeah, until the next time guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button, and yeah.